was moving slow, but they could hear. But yeah, so the Gregorian calendar, which was gathered together under Pope Gregory in the 1500s, was just a slight modification of the Julian calendar that was put together under Julius Caesar. In 14 calendar had 8 days. I'm gonna read you something from Wikipedia talking about the 8th day. It says, for early Christians, Sunday, as well as the beginning of the week, was also the spiritual 8th day, as it symbolized the new world creation after Christ's resurrection. The concept of the 8th day was symbolic only and had no effect on the use of the 7-day week for calendar purposes. Justin Martyr wrote, the first day after the Sabbath, remaining the first day of all days, is called feast day, and finishing on the same day of the week, a 7-day week, later is called an octave. For centuries, these were a major feature of the liturgical calendar, particularly of the Roman Catholic Church, as some still observe, through the number of such octaves as now has been radically reduced. So that whole 8th day thing was like, it was symbolic. It was, the calendar never had 8 days. The Julian calendar, it never had 8 days. It was a symbolic thing that the Roman Catholics set up because of the Sundays. So that's the historical part of it. Like I said, the same calendar that they were using when the Messiah was walking, as far as the Roman calendar and the Hebrew calendar, they was dealing with it then. And then I got a little bit more evidence from the Old Testament that I'm gonna pull out at the end. Yeah.
Leviticus 23:4. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations.
Okay, holy convocations, we all know, are Sabbaths, right? Okay, keep going.
Which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. In the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread. In the first day ye shall have an holy convocation.
So that lets you know right there, the first day of unleavened bread is the Sabbath. Keep reading.
Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord 7 days. In the 7th day is an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein.
So that lets you know that the 7th day is a Sabbath as well. Now, I just wanted to go through the order of the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread to prove my point, where I'm gonna pull out in the Gospel. So go to Matthew, the 26th chapter. Matthew 26 and start at verse 17.
Matthew 26 and 17. Now the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Yeshua, saying unto him, where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover?
Okay, so the disciples came asking him, where should we go prepare for the Passover? Now notice that it say the first day of unleavened bread. I want to show y'all something. Hold your finger right there. Go to Exodus 12 and 8. This is going through the order of the Passover right here. After Moses instructed them that they're supposed to kill the lamb. I want to show y'all something. That's how the Passover was considered to be a part of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and what's the reason. So, 12 and 8.
Exodus 12 and 8. And they shall eat the flesh in that night.
Talking about the flesh of the lamb that they sacrificed. Keep going.
Roast with fire and unleavened bread.
See that? So they ate unleavened bread on the Passover as well as the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Even though it was 2 different days, because they fell right in order sequentially, the Feast of Unleavened Bread actually started on the Passover. So I wanted just to clarify that real quick. But now we can go back to Matthew. So the disciples came to the Messiah and asked them where should they go to prepare the Passover, prepare the lamb. Jump down to verse 19, 26 and 19.
Matthew 26 and 19. And the disciples did as Yeshua had appointed them, and they made ready the Passover.
So they, according to the statutes that's in Exodus, the 12th chapter, how it tells them to prepare the lamb, they did that, and they made ready the Passover. Read the next verse.
Now when the even was come.
So when the even was come, that's the even of the 14th day of the first month. Keep going.
He sat down with the 12, and as they did eat, he said, Verily I say unto you, that one of you shall betray me.
Okay, so that's just showing the evidence that because they was eating the Passover, it was at even of the 14th day. Jump down to verse 74. Same chapter, verse 74.
Matthew 26 and 74.
Oh, wait. No, that's not what I want. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, read that.
Matthew 26 and 74. Then began he to curse and to swear, saying, I know not the man. And immediately the cock crew.
So this is after they took Yeshua, they took him, and this was after he had told Peter you was going to deny me 3 times, and before the cock crows. So we know that the cock crowing or the rooster crowing is because it's daybreak. So it's the next day. Read verse 1 of the next chapter, just going through the sequence of the days. So this was the very next day, or the morning of the 14th day. Follow me?
Want to release unto the people a prisoner.
Now that feast is talking about the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Every year at the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the governor, who was Pontius Pilate, released a prisoner. So we know the whole story behind it. He gave them the choice: either they're gonna release. Go to verse 31. Read verse 31.
Matthew 27 and 31. And after that, they had mocked him. They took the robe off from him and put his own raiment on him and led him away to crucify him. And as they came out, they found a man, a Cyrenian, Simon by name. Him they compelled to bear his cross. And when they garments among them, and upon my vesture did they cast lots.
So that's just to show you that they crucified him. He was crucified the morning of the 14th day. That's when he was crucified, and he was taken down from the cross and put in the sepulcher before the evening had come, because it was the Sabbath. So they had to prepare the body and put it in the sepulcher before that Sabbath came in, because that was the custom. They couldn't keep the feast unclean after touching a dead body. So go to Luke, the 23rd chapter. Start at verse 50.
Luke 23 and 50. And behold, there was a man named Joseph, a counselor, and he was a good man and just. The same had not consented to the counsel and deed of them. He was Arimathea, a city of the Jews, who also himself waited for the kingdom of the Most High. This man went unto Pilate and begged the body of Yeshua. And he took it down and wrapped it in linen.
See that? He took the body down off the cross and wrapped it in linen. Keep going.
And laid it in a sepulcher that was hewn in stone, wherein never man before was laid. And that day was the preparation, and the Sabbath drew on.
So the Sabbath, or like we just read in Leviticus, the first day of unleavened bread, which is the Sabbath, it was coming. So that's why he had to take the body down, wrapped it in linen, and he prepared it, and he set it in the tomb. Keep reading.
And the woman also which came with him from Galilee followed after and beheld the sepulchre and how his body was laid. John 19 and 31.
The high Sabbath day because it was the first day of unleavened bread. So that's the 15th day. We're going into the 15th day right there. Go to Matthew 12 and 40.
Matthew 12 and 40. For as Jonas was 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly, so shall the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth.
So that lets you know right there that after he was put in the tomb, he was going to be in. He was going to be in there 3 days and 3 nights. Now go back to Luke 24 and start at verse 14.
Luke
24 and 14. This is matter of fact, read Luke 24 and 1 first.
Luke 24 and 1. Now upon the first day of the week, very early in the morning, they came into the sepulchre, bringing the spices which they had prepared, and certain others with them.
So this is saying the first day of the week. If you don't know that he was supposed to be buried for 3 days and 3 nights, then you will automatically assume that because he was buried right before the Sabbath, and then they went to the tomb to prepare to anoint the body right after the Sabbath or on the first day of the week, you're thinking it was only 1 day. But jump down to verse 14. Luke 24 and 14.
Luke 24 and 14. And they talked together of all these things which had happened. And it came to pass that while they communed together and reasoned, Yeshua himself drew near, and went with them whose name was Cleopas, answered and said unto him, Art thou only a stranger in Jerusalem?
Like, where you from? Keep reading.
And has to be condemned to death, and have
third day after he was put in the tomb. It was the 3rd day, which says like he was crucified on the 14th day, buried he was buried before the evening of the 15th day. So then you got the 15th day he was in the tomb, the 16th day he was in the tomb, the 17th day he was in the tomb, and this was the 18th day when he was walking with him. That's 3 days right there. So that right there lets you know that the new moon, which falls on the first day of the month, if the Sabbath was 7 days after it and every 7 days following, then that means that the 7th day of the month